This year, you're going to be the one taking orders for Hot Cross Buns. Here in the Caribbean, we celebrate our rich and diverse heritage every day in every pot. The story of our shared experiences is told in every bite of our favorite dishes. Join us as we explore Caribbean cuisine, where every dish is simply local. Today I'm showing you guys how to make the fluffiest hot cross buns ever. And this is kind of my take on hot cross buns, how I like to make them. By no means is this the traditional hot cross buns, and I do not claim them to be, but this is just how I like to make them and how I like to eat them. So I'm gonna be showing you guys the recipe. Not only are these hot cross buns really fluffy and soft and moist, everything you want a hot cross bun to be, these are also super simple, probably the easiest bread recipe you'll do. So to start here, I'm actually putting in a cup of scalded milk. And to scald milk, essentially all you do is heat it up, and when it starts to foam, you'll see a film on top, and then you're going to just put it aside and let it cool. So this milk is probably about 110 degrees Fahrenheit or just warm to touch, and that's gonna help us activate the yeast to get things started. So to that, I am adding 2 ounces of unsalted butter that I've melted. Next, with our wet ingredients, I'm adding 2 eggs, and I'm going to just lightly beat them. There we go. And then set this aside, and we're gonna do our dry ingredients next. So next, we're gonna be putting together our dry ingredients, and today we're using Cuisine all-purpose flour. So I need 4.5 cups of this. So to our 4 cups of flour, we're going to add a packet of dry instant yeast, a bit of cardamom, ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, salt, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Oops. There we go. Today I'm using Cuisine golden raisins and sultanas, and I just rehydrated them by boiling them in some water and adding a teaspoon of baking soda, and I just let that sit for about 30 seconds, and it sort of just rehydrates the fruits and makes it more plump and juicy, so when we put them in, we really get that nice juicy bite out of each raisin and sultana. So a lot of people ask, what's the difference between a raisin and sultana? There's actually very little difference. A sultana is just larger than a raisin, just because of the fact that it was dried in a different way. Raisins are sun-dried and sultanas are dried in a different, more chemically induced way. And by all means, you can add your mixed peel, you can add whatever you want to add. So I personally like a really nice orangey citrus flavor in my hot cross buns. So I actually have here some rough skin lemon that I'm gonna just zest straight into our dry ingredients. Already smelling it. So that was lemon, and now we're going to do our orange. And just make sure you clean the orange and lemon properly. If you have to give it a little scrub and rinse, definitely do that. So we gotta get all the zest in there. And you know what they say about zesting? Less. Okay, now we're just gonna mix all the citrus zest in. Right, and that is it for our dry ingredients. All right, so now it's time to put our wet and dry ingredients together and make this dough. So I forgot to mention, it's extremely important that you don't skip this step when it comes to scalding the milk. What that does is it denatures some of the proteins in the milk, leaving it to be a more softer bun. So if you have a lot of proteins in the milk and you're developing the gluten, which is also a protein, it's gonna be a little bit more tough. But we want soft, fluffy hot cross buns today, so that's why we gave the milk a little scald. So don't skip that step. All right, so in my bowl, I've added my wet ingredients first. So I'm going to add about half of my dry ingredients in and just give that a mix with a spatula. And you're really getting that citrus zest. It's hitting the warm milk and it smells so good. It already smells like hot cross buns. So enough mixing with the spatula, I'm gonna graduate to my hands, which are clean. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of flour right into the bowl. And I'm just gonna turn the dough onto itself. So now we're gonna transfer the dough onto a floured surface and continue kneading. So I'm just gonna knead this for about a minute and a half. And it really is more just to smooth the surface of the dough rather than it is to, you know, put your whole body and energy into it. You really wanna just make sure that it's nice and smooth and not sticky anymore. You're looking for a softer dough for sure. The softer the dough, the more air can get inside and the fluffier our hot cross buns will be. So the ball is nice and smooth, well, relatively. You are seeing some of the sultanas and golden raisins there, and you also see the little bits of zest and cardamom and cinnamon. So now we're going to just transfer it into a lightly greased bowl, and I'm going to cover this with a tea towel and let this sit for about an hour and a half or until this is doubled in size. So our dough has been resting for about an hour and a half, and as you can see, it has more than doubled in size. So I'm just going to punch down into the dough and then just fold the dough into itself, just like this. And right here I have my little bench scraper. You could use a knife or anything. And I'm just gonna put it right on to the counter. And what I'm gonna do is form it into a little cylinder and then cut it into half. So we're gonna aim for 16 pieces in total. So I'm just gonna take one piece and just fold each side into itself, and then I'm going to flip it over onto my hand and then form it into a ball. So I formed my hot cross buns, and I'm just going to let them sit in the baking dish for about 20 minutes until they popped up a bit more, and then I'm going to chuck them in the oven for 20 minutes at 375. So these have puffed up really nicely, and I'm just going to put them in the oven for 20 minutes at 375. So while the hot cross buns in the oven, I'm going to make a quick orange glaze. Okay, so we're gonna make our orange syrup, which is gonna go on top of the hot cross buns once they come out of the oven. So I'm adding about half a cup of water to my shallow pan. There we go. Just put a little bit of the peel in here. To the orange juice, water and the peel, I'm adding a cup of granulated sugar. And I'm just mixing that in. Reduce the heat and then let it reduce to about half, so it's a nice thick syrup. All right, so here are my hot cross buns, and now it's time to baste them with my orange glaze. So as you can see, the glaze is thickened up nicely. We have little bits of orange peel in there. So I'm just going to gently bless each one with some of the orange glaze. Okay everyone, we're on the home stretch. Our hot cross buns have cooled down a bit. So now I'm going to pipe some of this cream cheese frosting in the cross formation. The reason why I love to use cream cheese frosting in particular is because the tanginess of the cream cheese really contrasts nicely with the spiciness of the hot cross buns and that kind of orange flavor. To make the cream cheese frosting, I simply blend cream cheese and butter together, add a bit of ice and sugar, and grate some lemon zest right into it, and just beat it till smooth. And then I load it into a piping bag, or you can use a Ziploc bag if you don't have one. So there you have it, the fluffiest hot cross buns, Emily style. It's my recipe and now it's yours. All right, it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. So let's dig in. It's everything that I love in a hot cross bun. Not only is it warm, it's fluffy. The fruit in it is nice and plump and juicy. Cream cheese frosting, you know, I'm a fiend for that. And yeah, so easy, wasn't it? The bakery is now at your own house. You're gonna be the one taking orders for these super easy, fluffy hot cross buns with cream cheese frosting. Delicious every single time. This is foolproof. And if you want to see the full recipe, it's on eatahfoodtt.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and if you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Every single subscription counts to help us bring more content to you as always. So that's it. I'm going to continue eating my hot cross bun, and I will see you guys next time. Always a pleasure having you. Bye.